Today is June 16th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today at the Big Book, we are going to continue our journey through the family Afterward by reading pages 130 and 131. Out of the personal stories, they lost nearly all. Listening to the Wind, we're going to read the top of page 466. And out of the 12 and 12, we're going to read tradition number 9, page 173. Life is good over here. Listening to the birds chirp. Once again, slept in a little bit later than I normally do in recording these. But hey, it's kind of a nice change. You know, I'm hearing the birds chirp. Got another cup of coffee in me. Life is good. And hey, more importantly, we've been given a brand new set of 24 hours. We were able to wake up today. And, one thing I definitely want to do a better job at is as soon as I wake up, just thank God for allowing me to wake up. Just the fact that we're alive today is a major blessing. And everything that happened yesterday, we can learn from those mistakes. And we can show up better for those we love today. What a beautiful opportunity we have. So, enough of my rambling. Let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends, we're on page 130 and 131. That's what we're going to read today. And yesterday we were talking about how early on in this alcoholic's recovery, the family might struggle with this transition, even though he's not drinking. Maybe there's a neglect going on with the family because all he's obsessing about is working with others. And this book definitely mentions the fact that, hey, it's imperative that early on in his recovery, he definitely focus on helping other alcoholics because that'll keep him sober. But also makes the very clear distinction that if a man neglects his family, there's something wrong with his spiritual matters as well. So I'm grateful that's there. Because yes, it's important to work with other alcoholics, but one of our first ministries is our family too. And righting those wrongs and making those direct and indirect amends. So we're going to build on that idea by reading 130 and 131. Those of us who have spent much time in the world of spiritual make-believe have eventually seen the childishness of it. This dream world has been replaced by a great sense of purpose, accompanied by a growing consciousness of the power of God in our lives. We've come to believe that He would like us to keep our heads in the clouds with Him, but that our feet ought to be firmly planted on earth. That is where our fellow travelers are, and that is where our work must be done. These are the realities for us. We have found nothing incompatible between a powerful spiritual experience and a life of sane and happy usefulness. One more suggestion. Whether the family has spiritual convictions or not, they may do well to examine the principles by which the alcoholic member is trying to live. They can hardly fail to approve these simple principles, though the head of the house still fails somewhat in practicing them. Nothing will help the man who is off on a spiritual tangent so much as the wife who adopts a sane spiritual program, making a better practical use of it. There will be other profound changes in the household. Liquor incapacitated father for so many years that mother became head of the house. She met these responsibilities gallantly. By force of circumstances, she was often obliged to treat father as a sick or wayward child. Even when he wanted to assert himself, he could not, for his drinking placed him constantly in the wrong. Mother made all the plans and gave the directions. When sober, father usually obeyed. Thus mother, through no fault of her own, became accustomed to wearing the family trousers. Father, coming suddenly to life again, often begins to assert himself. This means trouble, unless the family watches for these tendencies in each other and comes to a friendly agreement about them. Drinking isolates most homes from the outside world. Father may have laid aside for years all normal activities, clubs, civic duties, sports. When he renews interest in such things, a feeling of jealousy may arise. The family may feel that they hold a mortgage on Dad, so big that no equity should be left for outsiders. Instead of developing new channels of activity for themselves, mother and children demand that he stay home and make up the deficiency. At the very beginning, the couple ought to frankly face the fact that each will have to yield here and there if the family is going to play an effective part in the new life. Father will necessarily spend much time with other alcoholics, but this activity should be balanced. New acquaintances who know nothing of alcoholism might be made in thoughtful consideration given their needs. The problems of the community might engage attention. Though the family has no religious connections, they may wish to make contact with or take membership in a religious body. Alcoholics who have derided religious people will be helped by such contacts. Being possessed of a spiritual experience, the alcoholic will find that he has much in common with these people, though he may differ with them on many matters. If he does not argue about religion, he will make new friends and is sure to find new avenues of usefulness and pleasure. He and his family can be a bright spot in such congregations. He may bring new hope and new courage to many a priest, minister, or rabbi who gives his all to administer to our troubled world. We intend the foregoing as a helpful suggestion only. So far as we are concerned, there is nothing obligatory about it. As non-denominational people, we cannot make up others' minds for them. Each individual should consult his own conscience. All right, so some great stuff here. We'll come back to this in just a minute. And if you recall from yesterday's reading and listening to the wind, our poor friend here, who we've read many pages about her story, and it has gone from dark to darker to darkest, And she is currently at a laundromat, and I think she was drinking at this point, I'm pretty sure. She forgets where her laundry is. There's about 20 some washers going in the laundromat, and she can't remember which one was hers, so she's waiting it out, waiting for everyone else to leave with their clothes, and whatever clothes are left must be hers. So as she's waiting, she sees this woman get her stuff and write something down and go back into her car and come back out and hands our friend a note. And it says, if you ever want to stop drinking, call Alcoholics Anonymous 24 hours a day. We are going to read the next paragraph on page 466. Why had she given me this? And what made her think that I was drinking? Couldn't she see that my bottle was soda? Of all the nerve, I was mortified. I folded the paper neatly and put it in the back pocket of my jeans. As the next few weeks passed, I became sicker by the day. One morning I woke up alone as usual. I hadn't seen my husband in a long time. I needed a drink, and the bottle on the bedside table was dry. I arose on my shaky legs, but they refused to hold my weight. I fell to the floor and began crawling around the house looking for a bottle. Nothing. This meant I had to leave the house and get to the store. Oh man, so yeah, I'll come back to this in just a minute as well. Great stuff. And finally today, my friends, we're on tradition number 9. AA as such ought never to be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. So today we are reading page 173. Yet Alcoholics Anonymous is an exception. It does not conform to this pattern. Neither its General Service Conference, its Foundation Board, nor the humblest group committee can issue a single directive to an AA member and make it stick, let alone mete out any punishment. We've tried it lots of times, but utter failure is always the result. Groups have tried to expel members, but the banished have come back to sit in the meeting place saying, "This is life for us. You can't keep us out." Committees have instructed many of AA to stop working on a chronic backslider, only to be told, "How I do my 12-step work is my business. Who are you to judge?" This doesn't mean an AA won't take advice or suggestions from more experienced members, but he surely won't take orders. Who is more unpopular than the old-time AA, full of wisdom, who moves to another area and tries to tell the group how to run its business? He and all like him who view with alarm for the good of AA meet the most stubborn resistance or, worse still, laughter. You might think AA's headquarters in New York would be an exception. Surely the people there would have to have some authority. But long ago, trustees and staff members alike found that they could do no more than make suggestions, and very mild ones at that. They even had to coin a couple of sentences which still go into half of the letters they write. Of course, you are at perfect liberty to handle this matter any way you please. Now that attitude is far removed from central government, isn't it? We recognize that alcoholics can't be dictated to, individually or collectively. One of the many things I love about Alcoholics Anonymous, these are merely suggestions. As I've said a few times on the podcast, has anyone ever shut down when somebody starts preaching at you, or you got to do this, you got to do that? Everyone's a little different, but I love that the whole program is presented in a way that goes, hey, here are some suggestions. Here are some things that worked for us. For some reason, for my brain, I've always seemed to be a little bit more receptive to that. And then I tried some of these suggestions, by attraction rather than promotion. I tried some of these suggestions. I said, well, it's working for these people. Maybe I should try. And go figure, it worked for me too. All because I decided to take suggestions instead of commandments. Thank God for that. And to go into the personal story real fast, I know we're running up on time, is, I was wrong. I said at the beginning that she was drinking. I just assumed so, right? Well, our friend wasn't drinking when she was at the laundromat. Yet the lady who must have observed our friend here, the narrator, she knows. She could just tell. Is that not a God story or what? That the little seed was planted right there. For whatever reason, the stranger knew that our friend was an alcoholic. Gives her that note. And obviously this was written in the personal story, so I have a gut feeling that our friend kept that note for a long time. And it was probably given to her at the exact moment she needed it, whether she realized it or not. It's amazing how the God of my understanding works. It's just amazing. And you know what? I'll go ahead and call it quits right there. Guys, if you are sober today, you're a miracle. You are an absolute miracle. And I hope you realize that. I've heard old-timers who have 40 years of sobriety say, and it sounds like they're just being like humble, and they say, it's just one day at a time. But I get what they're saying. We can't assume just because I've been sober for 6-some years, if I don't work this program daily, if I don't try to stay honest daily, one day at a time, I'm going to lose it. I think that's what they mean, we just string it one day at a time, and through this series of events over time, maybe we can remain sober for a long term, but it's just one day at a time. Reworking these steps, it's in the reps, that I've seen long-term sobriety. It's incredible. But I love living one day at a time, right? That's why I always say we've been given a brand new set of 24 hours. If I start thinking I'm never going to drink for the rest of my life, and I end up living to 60, 70 years old, Lord willing, I hope so, that would be intimidating, right? But I can stay sober for a couple of hours. That's not so bad. That's not so intimidating. I can handle that. One step at a time, right? So guys, as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, or anything like that. I'm just a friend in recovery. Grateful that you're here in this lifeboat with me. And if we were given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.